not to necessarily go down the rabbit hole
Mhm.
here, do you recommend ozone machines and like those home, the ones that you can buy off the shelf? Do you recommend those?
Well, here's my thing on that. So, in order to kill mold, you've got to have 5 parts per million. When you have 5 parts per million of ozone in a room, then that's going to kill not only mold, it'll kill all bacteria. Even hospitals use that to kill. Not only do they kill mold with it, they kill MRSA with it, which is the superbug. But that's not your typical machine. The typical machine that you would buy would be meant to be run 24/7. I'm not sure about those if they're safe or not. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know, because I'm a little bit uncomfortable with them because I did a job for a dentist and he showed me he had one of those ozone machines running in his. This is anecdotal, so don't.
Okay.
This all it is a story that was. But he showed me his latex gloves, and they were shredded. And I think that when people read it as something about ozone harming something, they're not talking generally about a high ozone shock treatment, which is what I do. I'm in and out in 8 hours. They're talking about generally those things that run 24/7. And I don't know how that affects your lungs or anything else, to be honest with you. But in my process, we don't want people in the house or animals, right? People, pets, or plants. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
For 8 hours. Now, having said that, just one caveat. A lot of the people treat with antimicrobials. I'm leery about chemicals that I put in and around my body. Ozone gas in and of itself is good. We wouldn't have life on this planet without the ozone layer. It filters out UV rays that would burn us up, but it also happens to be the most powerful sterilant on the planet. Just to give you perspective on it, a distant second would be chlorine. Chlorine doesn't, ozone does. Hospitals use it. So as long as you treat it right, you're okay with it. And the good thing is it's not a harsh toxic chemical. It doesn't leave anything behind like a harsh toxic chemical. It just kills it while it's there. And when you unplug it, it goes from 5 parts per million. I watched it on a meter down to less than a part per million in about 15 minutes.
I bought a house a few years ago and there was an ozone machine inside. I'm in this house for about maybe 4 or 5 minutes and I walk out. It literally took 15 minutes to collect myself from being
Shortness of breath or just
the shortness of breath. I was like, okay, I'm not going to. I'm like, I am not going to because I was trying to drive and then I was like, let me just park here and figure it out. It probably was more than 5 minutes, but boy, is that some powerful stuff.
Well, I tell people not to go in the house for at least an hour. When I go in a house, I open the doors and I put exhaust fans front and back. And so generally, like I said, I've watched it on a meter. Within 5 minutes, it's back down to about less than 1 part per million,
Okay.
which should be
Wow. And so it's really encouraging to know that you do this type of work because so many times the conversations, the questions that surround what you do can either make or break a transaction, but also can resolve a really deep problem so that we can actually proceed and move forward with a purchase. Because I like buying houses that have a whole bunch of mold going on because nobody else wants them, right? So mold can be gone, right? So I love being able to buy those types of opportunities, but it's always good to be able to call Tom to help remediate that because I know guys that will not enter a place or go to work in an environment where that's present. So I think that's cool.
Happen? Yeah, I think it's real cool. What else is cool is you can find us on your socials, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and X. We're on @Investor Tribe. So keep tuning in to the podcast. We launch a new one every Wednesday at 1:00.
Yeah. Can you tell us a time where the root cause of the mold was completely unexpected?
Really just food and water. So I can't really say that it was anything's a surprise to me as far as food and water because it's always
Nothing's a surprise.
also the fact that food and water. You know how they say that follow the money and not follow the water and nothing.
Nothing. We said that does,
But it does make it tougher to figure it out.
okay. Follow the food or follow
food and water.
follow the food and the water. Okay.
Yeah.
So that does make sense. And so are they ever hard to find? Because I know that when I purchase houses and I invest and I do my things, basically water never begins where it ends, or it never ends where it began. So you can't necessarily find the source. Are you finding yourself like navigating the forensic work of where the water came from?
I find my inspections as I am in the business longer and longer, getting longer and longer, because I'm more detailed in my search on, because I need to know where it came from, what's causing it, how to get rid of it. And so it's always a puzzle to me when I go to a job so I look at everything, and sometimes you just have to sit there for a minute and let it come to you. And I think it's very much like one of those shows, one of the forensic shows. It's always about, where is this coming? How can we get rid of it? And everything's different. Each case is different. So you look at each house differently. But usually, I don't think I've run into any that I hadn't been able to solve. And they're not that complicated once you figure them out. Just nobody, unless you're in my business, you just don't take time to look at it. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because so many times there can be a leak that came from the outer wall that travels down a floor, that travels down the joist and ends up in a finished basement drywall area about 5 feet away.
So whenever I look at a case like that in a bed, it's a good example. I looked at one there a while back now, but they had an unfinished basement. The microbial growth was on the joist. We treated that. And then they call me, I don't know, maybe a month later. And so we got it on. It came back. I said, it came back already? And they said, yeah. Well, it wasn't there that they were talking about because we cleaned it. So the sequence is kill it, then you clean. Peroxide is a good thing to deal with, not bleach necessarily. But that's sequence, kill it. But no, it was on the finished part. It was on the drywall, and it was all along the wall. I said, like you just said, let's go look at it was an exterior wall. Let's go look at the outside of it. So what they had on the outside of it, how some windows are below grade, right, and they'll put wells in? Well, they didn't put a cover on this well. So when it rains, it can fill up like a swimming pool, go down into behind the drywall. And that's what happened in this particular case. So whenever you look at an interior wall, go look at it on the outside. You'll find